Is the new Texas election integrity law working? Well, the Associated Press is reporting county election officials rejected about 23,000 mail-in ballots for the Texas primaries. The GOP-backed effort to thwart non-existent widespread voter fraud in Texas is also hurting their own party. The AP reports across 187 Texas counties, 9% of Republican mail-in ballots were rejected. County election supervisors also rejected 15% of Democratic ballots. Here to talk about this is Jamaar Brown, co-executive director of the Texas Democratic Party. Thank you so much for being here.
Of course. Thanks for having me.
So, Jamaar, this report shows the Texas election integrity law impacted Democrat and Republican voters. What needs to be done to better educate Texans ahead of the November election so that we don't see, ballots being tossed out?
You're absolutely right. And when Democratic legislators told them during the last legislative session, and also when they went to D.C. to fight for our federal voting rights, is that this will impact Republicans and Democrats, and we've seen that. And so we're doing better work around ensuring that we are contacting voters to let them know how to access voting. We have a statewide website that we're using. We are doing mailers and other points that we can educate voters, because what we saw in this law is a lot of confusion and nuances, but not a lot of education, where the Secretary of State's office did not properly train even election administrators to run the election, therefore also not educating voters. And so we've got to make sure that as a party, we're doing that work directly, and we've invested some resources to do that.
So again, 23,000 ballots were thrown out. That is equivalent to the city population of Belton, Texas. Is this new law disenfranchising voters, in your opinion? What is it doing?
Well, I think absolutely, one. Number two, what's being reported is 23,000. What's not being reported is all the folks who may not have even received their ballot because of mail issues, folks that didn't receive an answer, et cetera, about their application. And so 23,000 is what we know that's been reported. But if you look at people who may not have even ever received it and ended up having to go show up at the polling location, it's probably more than 23,000. So it's definitely disenfranchising, and it's definitely detrimental to democracy in the aspect of the voters being able to choose their leaders.
Jamaar, the Fifth Circuit Court of Appeals threw out 3 challenges to the state's election law. Where do you see the legal battle going forward?
Well, I think the piece that's going to be fundamentally important around this is we've got to make sure that we're investing more resources in educating and recruiting poll workers. That's been a huge component of this. And so we've got to make sure that we're doing that. That should be coming from the state, making sure that election administrators have all the tools and resources that they need as well, especially as we're going into the general election. And if we had these issues in the primary election, we're only going to see those issues magnified in the general election. So we need that investment in resources, PR, marketing. We need the investment in training to make sure that these elections are run adequately, even with the constraints of the new law.
All right. Jamaar Brown with the Texas Democratic Party. Thank you for sharing your time and perspective with us tonight.
Absolutely. Thank you.